Welcome to Star Watch Now, your front row seat to all the hottest gossip, drama, and breaking news from the world of entertainment. If it's trending, shocking, or star-studded, we're covering it. Stay tuned. You won't want to miss what's coming next.
What happens when the darkness behind the glamour of fame is revealed? A tragic tale that no one could have imagined has just come to light. The only surviving witness, the waiter who was there that night, has handed over the shocking truth about Menglong's final moments. Hold your breath, because this story is one you won't forget. If you've been following the mystery, the betrayal, and the truth that's been buried, then you're in the right place. In a world where the powerful often silence the truth, one man, the lone survivor of a night full of secrets, has stepped forward. His testimony, once hidden in the shadows, has ignited a firestorm. Menglong, a beloved actor, was supposed to enjoy an evening of celebration. Instead, it turned into a nightmare that would cost him his life. And what happened that night? It's more chilling than you could ever imagine. Stay with me until the end, as we uncover the heart-stopping details of this tragic event. The night that was meant to be filled with glamour and laughter turned into the beginning of an unthinkable tragedy. It was one of those evenings where luxury disguised the truth, where wealth and power gathered in a single room, and where every smile carried a shadow behind it. The party took place in a high-end private club in Beijing, the kind of place where velvet curtains absorbed secrets, and the air smelled of expensive champagne and unspoken fear. Everyone who mattered in the entertainment circle seemed to be there. Actors, producers, investors, and managers. Yet amidst the glitter and forced laughter, Menglong sat quietly in the corner, as though his very presence was an act of endurance rather than celebration. The waiter, who would later become the only surviving witness, remembered every detail with haunting precision. The lights were dim but golden, casting a warm glow that could not conceal the unease in Yu's eyes. He wasn't mingling, nor was he smiling for the cameras or laughing at the jokes that echoed too loudly. He was there because he had to be, surrounded by people who viewed him not as a person, but as a commodity to be controlled, tested, and eventually broken. While others toasted to success, Yu's glass remained almost untouched, his fingers trembling slightly every time someone forced another drink into his hand. The atmosphere grew heavier with every passing minute. Conversations that began with casual flattery turned into veiled threats disguised as jokes. Each toast was a demand for obedience, each smile a warning. To anyone else, it might have looked like a simple party, an evening of entertainment and indulgence, but to Yu it was a stage set for humiliation. The laughter, the lights, the luxury. All of it became part of a performance he never wanted to be in. The waiter later said that Yu's silence spoke louder than the music. It was as if he already knew that something was terribly wrong, that beneath the glittering surface, danger was waiting to strike. And in that silence, under the golden haze of artificial joy, the clock began to tick towards the moment that would seal his fate. It was around 11:20 that night when the illusion of sophistication shattered, and the truth began to crawl out from behind the music. The waiter, who had been working tirelessly under the suffocating air of forced laughter and clinking glasses, stepped away for just a moment, long enough for the mask of the evening to slip. As he walked down the hallway, he heard a sound that didn't belong in a place of celebration. A dull thud, followed by the scraping of furniture against the marble floor. At first he thought someone had simply had too much to drink. But as he drew closer, something inside him froze. The music seemed distant, muffled, almost as if the entire world was holding its breath. Through the slightly open door of the VIP room, the golden light flickered, and the scent of perfume was replaced by the metallic tang of fear. He looked inside, and what he saw changed him forever. Menglong was no longer seated in quiet discomfort. He was struggling, his body pinned down by a man in a black suit whose expression was cold and deliberate. One hand gripped Yu's shoulder with violent force, the other pressed firmly across his mouth. The sound that escaped from Yu's throat was half a gasp, half a cry, raw, human, and filled with disbelief. His legs kicked out desperately, knocking over glasses and scattering ice across the floor. The music from the next room kept playing, masking the horror unfolding just a few feet away. For a brief moment, the waiter couldn't move. His body refused to obey, paralyzed by the sheer wrongness of what he was witnessing. When the man in black noticed him, their eyes met, one pair filled with rage, the other with terror. "What are you looking at?" the man snarled. his voice slicing through the air like a blade. "Do you want to lose your eyes too?" That was when the waiter ran, his heart pounding so violently it drowned out every other sound. His hands trembled, his breath came in ragged bursts, but even from the hallway he could hear the chaos behind that door. He dared to look back once, just long enough to see Yu's body thrown onto the sofa, surrounded by shadows moving with cold precision. And in that instant the truth settled in. The night was no longer a party. It had become a hunt. The nightmare unfolded slowly, like a scene rehearsed long before the night began. Menglong was no longer the gentle actor admired by millions. He had become prey in a cruel game orchestrated by people who once smiled beside him. The waiter, still trembling, watched from the shadows as the horror deepened. Yu's voice, once calm and soft, turned into a broken whisper, then a hoarse cry. They had surrounded him, men in suits, their faces twisted in amusement, fueled by alcohol and the intoxication of power. Every time Yu tried to speak, someone would raise a glass, mockingly demanding a toast. They poured liquor straight down his throat as he choked and gasped for air. His hands trembled violently, reaching out as if still believing someone might help him. But there was no one left to save him. The air in the room thickened with a mixture of smoke, spilled wine, and something darker, fear. The sound of glass breaking echoed like a cruel rhythm, each shatter marking another piece of his dignity stripped away. One of the men, wearing a floral shirt that stood out under the dim golden light, laughed as Yu coughed uncontrollably. When some of the drink spilled onto him, the laughter turned into fury. Without hesitation he smashed the bottle against Yu's face, the sharp crack echoing through the room. The liquid that splattered wasn't just wine. It glistened dark red against the light. For a moment even the other men hesitated, as if realizing they had crossed a line they could never return from. Yu fell to his knees, his breathing shallow, his face marked with pain and disbelief. Yet even in that broken state, there was defiance in his eyes, a quiet refusal to surrender to their cruelty. He tried to speak, but his words came out as a whisper drowned by laughter. The waiter could barely stand the sight. His hands clutched the tray so tightly that his knuckles turned white. When it finally slipped from his grasp, the crash startled everyone, but no one reached out to stop the violence. In that suffocating room filled with laughter, blood, and silence, humanity had vanished. What remained was the echo of Yu's struggle, a desperate fight to hold on to his last shred of dignity, while surrounded by those who had long forgotten theirs. By the time the party ended, there were over 10 empty bottles scattered around the room. But one bottle, covered in a dark substance that wasn't wine, caught the waiter's eye. It looked like blood. The next morning, police arrived at the scene, sanitizing the area and confiscating all footage. The witness statements were dismissed, and anyone who tried to speak out was silenced. The truth was buried, and those who tried to expose it disappeared into the shadows. But one man, the lone surviving waiter, could no longer stay silent. He gathered his courage and, before fleeing the city, sent his testimony to an independent journalist, along with damning evidence: the blood-stained bottles, fragments of security footage, and a handwritten note from Yu himself. The note, which is believed to be Yu's final words, read, "I trusted the wrong people. If you find this, tell my mother I wasn't drunk. I fought back." These words, written in the final moments of Yu's life, speak volumes about the betrayal and cruelty he faced. But that wasn't the end. What came next was even more shocking. Authorities, despite their efforts to suppress the evidence, couldn't silence the truth. The investigation revealed DNA traces on the bottles and glasses recovered from the scene, matching several known figures: actors, producers, and even Yu's own manager. This wasn't a random act. It was a calculated betrayal. A betrayal that took place under the orders of powerful individuals with everything to gain by silencing Yu. As the investigation unraveled, it became clear: Yu had been a victim of a web of manipulation, deceit, and cruelty. The surviving waiter, having unknowingly triggered a backup security system, provided crucial footage. It showed Yu being dragged away, the chaos that unfolded, and the bloody aftermath. Despite efforts to label the evidence as fabricated, the truth was out. Behind closed doors, the media company involved was implicated. Leaked documents revealed secret payments, hidden contracts, and disturbing details about similar gatherings with other celebrities. And the most chilling discovery of all? A USB drive, encrypted and hidden beneath the floor tiles in Yu's apartment, containing videos of brutal training sessions on other actors by the same group. These videos began with a man in a dark suit coldly saying, "Obey or vanish." The leaked clips ignited fury worldwide, but within China, they were swiftly erased from most platforms. Yet, the truth couldn't be silenced. It circulated on encrypted networks, and forensic analysis confirmed the authenticity of the footage and the audio, leaving no room for doubt. As the investigation deepens, new leads continue to emerge. The surviving waiter, now under protection abroad, has become a symbol of hope for those seeking justice for Yu Menglong. His final message, delivered softly yet powerfully, is clear. Please share this. Don't let it disappear. If the world forgets him, then we're all guilty. This is not just the story of a man's death. It's the story of an entire system of power and manipulation that needs to be exposed. The darkness cannot be hidden forever, and the truth will always find its way to the light. If you've been moved by this story, if you believe in justice, and if you want to ensure that Yu Menglong's truth is never forgotten, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join us on this journey for justice. Share this video to keep the conversation alive, and don't let the story be silenced. Thank you for watching, and remember, together we can make a difference.